The penultimate round of the 2018 Daytona DMAX Championships for the Inter Enduros is almost upon us, and we've just had an incredible qualifying session. The top three drivers separated by 1/10 of a second and a dead heat to the 1,000th of a second between the top two. This is going to be a good one.
Have you ever seen anything like that before?
Certainly not in karting before. I've seen it close, but not a dead heat in quali. Brilliant.
Should we try third place? Let's talk to Bobby Trundley. You were so aggressive on that qualifying lap. Turn 9, I'm not one to judge, I'm not very quick, but you seemed like you were coming through there nearly sideways, nearly backwards.
That's how I was doing it in the 24-hour international race a couple of weeks ago. I've just got to readjust, really. I mean, I'm driving it too aggressive because usually we're taking a little bit too little speed during the 24-hour races because obviously the kart's a little bit chinned down to make it. But I'm going in too hot, so I need to just adjust a little bit, but I think I could adjust and hold on to the back of these guys.
So you're going to adjust, try and be conservative, or are you going to go all out, go for it?
What's not to like then? You know my style. I've got to be a little bit more conservative into certain corners because I'm going in too hot, particularly turn 2 for me. I'm struggling to get the front end. But other than that, it's going to be a very close race. It's good for the championship.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Bobby says he's going to be more conservative. Spoiler, he's not.
Yeah, that's definitely not the Bobby Trundley I know. Speaking of which, Chris Hackworth, front row of the grid, you set the pole position lap time. The problem is, you said it first and you only said it once.
Yeah, it was really close, like I say. It's still, I think, I was a bit suffering a bit understeer, so hopefully I can sort that out in the race and we can have a good race. But there were some black clouds earlier. I don't know where they've gone, but maybe rain would help. But no, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good race.
It's really interesting now that obviously with Tom Pughe having moved across to the Inters mid-season from the heavies, he wanted to show what he could do to match you for qualifying pace and then set the same qualifying lap to the 1,000th of a second twice. I mean, this is going to be such an amazing race. This is really going to have to bring your A game.
Yeah. Tom, like I say, he's moved up, you know, bad luck for us, but he's a great driver and I'm looking forward to the race. So hopefully him and Bobby can pull away and we can have a good race at the end.
Well, you've got the skull and crossbones on the back of your skid lid, so obviously it's time to put your pirate face on and go for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
I'm here with the pole man, Tom Pughe. Not satisfied with setting one pole time, you did the same time twice.
Yeah, in fairness, Bobby's worried about his times. It's Bobby that I sat behind. I've never got to race Bobby apart from in a 24-hour here and there. So we've had like little moments where we've been out on track at the same time. So this is the first time I've had to be able to race him because he used to race with Harrison as a kid. So I've watched them two grow up karting in cadets.
But that makes you feel young and springly.
And then there's Chris Hackworth, who's obviously a legend around here, has been for years, won many, many trophies. And yeah, I think if it wasn't the fact that I sat behind Bobby, you know, he's got nothing to worry about. He taught me a few corners there and helped me out, and I just went, right, okay, so that's it, put it together, and then managed to do both laps time. If he wasn't in front of me, I don't think I would have been pushing to catch. And I thought, if I catch Bobby, I've got this, because he's the man to beat. And Chris, obviously, you know, come off just in front as well. I think it was all so close between all three of us.
But it can't have been a fluke, because you did it twice. But can you hold them off in the race?
I love this track, and I've been coming up here for, I don't know, probably 20 years now, I think it is, at least. And I love it, and yeah, I just know it. And the cliff bit, just had to learn that today, but yeah.
Are you enjoying annoying these Inter boys now that you've moved down?
I haven't really been bothering that much. One little Wilton, I think I got a 5th or something, that was about it. And then here, as I say, it's my local track. And someone mentioned Sky News was here, so I thought, I've got to do something, do you know what I mean?
Got to do it for the cameras. I have no idea what he means. Thank you very much, Tom. Yeah, exciting. Like, pick a winner out of those three.
It's impossible at the moment because with 3 qualifying laps that are dead equal to the 1,000th of a second set by 2 drivers, that's really incredible. Then, of course, we've got the championship battle to take into account. Bobby Trundley ahead of Owen Genman, who's only P6 on the grid. So there's going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of overtakes in this race. We should see quite an incredible battle in this Inter Enduro final. The drivers now forming up for the start of the Daytona DMAX Inter Enduro round 9, and it's a dead heat from qualifying. Absolutely astonishing. I've never seen it before in Daytona DMAX, where Tom Pughe got 2 fastest qualifying laps to exactly the same time to the 1,000th of a second, matching the lap set by Chris Hackworth at the start of the session. Alongside, on the second row of the grid, it is going to be Bobby Trundley, who will be in there with the 7 of Anthony Kirk, and with Owen Genman starting starting down in P6. Mike Coppin alongside Andy Spencer on the 4th row of the grid. Both of those drivers will want to move their way through the field as well. So this is going to be a real adventure for a lot of the drivers in the field as they get themselves into positions. They obviously want to make sure they get the best start. They've been warming the tyres and brakes up. So this is time for action. The Daytona DMAX Inter Enduro penultimate round of the season is about to get underway. We are racing. Green flag straight away, and an hour of racing on the Daytona Milton Keynes International Circuit begins. No problem at all at the front of the field for Tom Pughe. He breaks clear into the lead of the race, and I think that's Bobby Trundley having come through past Chris Hackworth in a second position. Perfect start for Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby Trundley, very aggressive going into turn 2 and managed to hold it on the outside of turn 3 to go into turn 4, which is no mean feat at all. He really had to hold in there against Hackworth.
So now it's about whether Bobby Trundley can start attacking Tom Pughe. They have never raced wheel to wheel for a position in the championships before, as Chris Hackworth makes the move up the inside of Bobby Trundley to go for second position, and that's going to be an interesting drag race down the hill as they drop through the left-hander up towards turn 8. Hackworth to the inside line, Trundley in second. We've got yellow flags because there's been an incident up at turn 7. Not entirely sure what it is that's caused that, but a really exciting start to the race. And up at the front, it is Tom Pughe who's got a bit of a gap. Up the inside, Hackworth takes the place from Bobby Trundley. Beautifully done as he gets himself at a second place in front of Kirk. Then in P5, that looks to me like Joe Ellis has hung on there in front of Andy Spencer and Owen Genman.
Oh, Genman's just been taken out the inside as well by Andy Spencer. A great move by Spencer, leaping on some hesitation from Genman on the entry into the final turn.
And now Spencer's losing 2 more. Oh, sorry. Yes, Andy Spencer, I think that is. No, Genman losing 2 places. Coppin and Alcock have both got through as well. Down to 9th place then goes Genman. This is not good as far as his championship attack is concerned.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't Spencer that got Genman. Spencer's actually fallen behind that little group as well.
Over the top of the crest of the hill, Pughe versus Chris Hackworth is about to intensify. I can sense that there is going to be a bit of a change for position. Here comes Hackworth reading in the back of Tom Pughe. He may even go for a lunge into the hairpin. He's that close. He is going to make a lunge for the inside line, and Hackworth takes the lead. Beautifully done there on the inside. He doesn't want to wait around for this one. He's going to get the lead from Pughe, no problem. And now it's about whether Hackworth can get away or just hang on to the momentum in front. So he had somebody go into the barriers quite hard there at turn 5. I didn't actually see who that was, but according to the timing screen, everybody on track came through, which isn't possible because there was one stuck in the barrier doing nothing. But now Coppin's going to get up the inside and takes the place away from Anthony Kirk. So that puts him into P6. This is going to be brave from Genman on the outside of 6. Hold it together, Owen. Oh, he's kept the car right the way around the outside and holds on to the position in front of the man behind him. That's Simon Ross, but he had to let Alcock go.
How often do we see Genman come from the midfield and fight his way back up and start bothering the podium? But on this occasion, with Hackworth unleashed so early, it's too much, isn't it? It's too little too late. Well, to me, it looks like Spencer is catching up to Trundley, and Trundley's falling back first into the clutches of Joe Ellis, but also Andy Spencer. Bobby Trundley leading the title, but going backwards in this race.
Yeah, this isn't going to be easy for Bobby Trundley to hang on to in terms of a points advantage. But we've got somebody off at turn 2. Now, I think that might be Chris Carlton who's gone in there. So a bit of an incident, unfortunately, for Chris Carlton. And it looks to me as though it's him that's ended up in the barriers. I could be wrong on that front, but it's cleared up fairly quickly. Yellow flags are still there, though, of course, because the marshal is still readjusting the tyre barrier. The Hackworth from Pughe, the gap is 1.7 seconds. The field obviously reduces its pace under yellow flags, but look at Joe Ellis, is right in behind Bobby.
That's what I was going to say. Obviously, yellow flags, they've all reduced their pace, yet magically that gap has come right down.
Ellis looks like he may get a run on Trundley into 4. He's backed out of the run for turn 2, but there is an opportunity here potentially. He may see that Trundley's holding them up a bit too much.
Well, Trundley went defensive there on the entry to turn 4, and Ellis tried to take the wide line. But you just get the feeling around this track, it is the lunge, isn't it, rather than the sweeping cutback.
Oh, Ellis is going to get up the inside, though. This time, there's nothing Trundley can do about it. Ellis gets the undercut, dives through, gets to 3rd position. Trundley's going to try and fight back for it, but that is Joe Ellis through. Trundley will get him back on the undercut on the exit of 7, and they go side by side down the hill. That is such a difficult part of the circuit to go wheel to wheel on. So who is going to emerge from the top end of the field? Absolutely nail-biting stuff between these two. Hackworth still your leader, Tom Pugh second. Who's third? It's still up for debate as they're still side by side, and that is Joe Ellis just hanging on in front of Trundley. Trundley trying to squeeze back into the outside, but Ellis has got the job done.
I can tell you there was contact there as Trundley looked at the outside and Ellis went to defend. So Ellis actually lucky that wasn't a heavier contact in his rear left that could have put him in trouble.
Well, this is still so far so good if you're Bobby Trundley, because fourth position is where he is, and that would give him a 38-point score compared to Genman, who in 9th place at the moment is looking at 28 points. So that's a 10-point advantage to Trundley again. And then, of course, you're looking at Andy Spencer, who is currently looking at 5th position, 1 place behind Trundley on 36. So if it stays like this, Trundley would have 323, Genman 285, Spencer 274.
Except it's not going to stay like this.
Well, no, indeed. I mean, we're only looking at it from the point of view of where things are now.
So the way I'm looking at it at the moment is, I don't know what's happening with Trundley, but he looks like he's going backwards relative to that pack. And he's going to find himself in amongst Spencer, Coppin, Genman. I don't think Genman's out of this as far as the Genman-Trundley battle goes today.
Hackworth, though, just looking so smooth, so rhythmic. Pugh is well planted in 2nd position, but Hackworth just sliding for every apex, looking so natural. No issues at all, and the kart is responding to his every whim at the moment. Traffic,
though, for Trundley to deal with, and Spencer's right behind him, so the gap is nothing. It's about 5 grid places between the two of them, and Trundley's still got the traffic to get past.
And Trundley has not made as light work of the traffic in the past races this year as others. However, he's made a lot of ground on Ellis there by diving for the inside.
That was a good little overtake, that was, into turn 4.
Yeah, that was on, I think, James Browning, having already got past Nigel Foote. Out in front, no problems at all for Chris Hackworth. He can pace himself at the front. Tom Pugh is going to be happy with 2nd position if he remains there, but an opportunity to win was obviously very much staring him in the face in the early stages, but a 2nd place wouldn't be a bad result for Tom Pugh in only his 3rd weekend as an Inter.
No, I think he understood that he had pulled off an absolutely amazing qualifying session there, and he did credit the fact that he was following behind Bobby Trundley and trying to catch Bobby and copy some of his lines. He did credit that for getting his pole position. I don't think he thought he was genuinely on pace with the top 2 or 3 today, so 2nd, I would imagine, would be a great result.
Absolutely. Looking at the way that Joe Ellis has dealt with Bobby Trundley and got past him, I don't think Joe Ellis has quite got the same speed to negotiate with the man in 2nd place, Chris Hackworth, as now it is side-by-side Coppin and Spencer. Coppin is trying to make the push to come through, so Coppin tries again. They come through on the far side, and this time Coppin has got the move done. Into 5th position then goes Mike Coppin. Great driving there. Up to the inside. Oh, and it's a spin into the barriers. That is a very livid Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett has gone into the barriers at turn 2 in a battle with Wattis and Tim Ellis, and it looked to me as though Wattis just tried to dive for the inside line at turn 2, and there was nothing that James Bennett could do about that Sam Bennett, could do about it. He ended up going in backwards into the tyre barriers. Sam Bennett's going to be absolutely hopping mad about that one.
I'm watching Coppin's progress, but actually Ellis has fallen back into the clutches of Bobby Trundley. I'm wondering whether we're really seeing the best of these DMAX karts than we've seen all day, because we started off foggy and damp, and now it's hot for some reason, even though it's like January or something. Thanks a lot, Big Petrol.
Yeah, we are in the low 20s, high teens, aren't we? So it's a lot hotter than I think anybody predicted it was going to be. Certainly last night in the cool, damp conditions, drivers found they were able to go quite fast. And this morning, they're not getting as much speed out of the karts as they did yesterday evening, because the circuit is getting hotter. And the hotter the circuit, the harder it is to keep the tyres cool. Mike
Coppin struggling past the back marker there. I'll try and find out who that is, because that's a great race suit, the yellow and red with donkeys on the back. It's number 51.
That is Chris Carlton.
Sponsored by Dan Lee's Donkeys. I want to know more. Advertising works. Tell me more.
But watch out, Coppin is now getting closer to these 2 up front. Ellis has lost so much ground in the traffic as a result of struggling to get past Carlton, who is battling away with Tony De Castro. And now Coppin has got past De Castro and is up the inside of Dan Lee's Donkeys.
If Dan Lee's Donkeys could actually keep up with those guys, because he's the easiest man on track to spot. And on this circuit, you lose track of them as they disappear into the back section.
Well, Carlton has got through, regardless of who he's sponsored by. It's a fantastic sponsorship name. I just want to see that one in Formula One. I really do. Into the final hairpin, and Coppin's got a really good run set up here on Bobby Trundley. It's going to take him about a lap and a half or so to really dial him in for the overtaking move, but this is a big problem for Trundley.
Okay, what do you do if you're Bobby here? Do you defend hard? Is this the hill to die on here and now? Or do you play tactical? Do you not fight Coppin too much and think about the championship?
I think you try and get further onto the back of Joe Ellis at this point, because there's that long queue of traffic coming up, and he will know that as the race develops, he may get an opportunity to break clear.
But even there, he's gone slightly defensive into turn 6. He's going to lose ground on Ellis. He's losing ground on Ellis anyway if he keeps defending and fighting hard.
I think Trundley's biggest issue at the moment is that he's not feeling quite as comfortable in the car as he wants to. He hasn't quite got that dominant streak. He's not able to just run in and disappear. And that's where Bobby is at his strongest in terms of his, his composure as a racing driver. He's not quite able to be at that level today. And that means that he's having to play defensive. He's having to let Coppin come for a move. And Coppin, I don't think he's going to wait around. He's going to try for the first major opportunity he can crack. This is going to be a difficult one for Bobby Trundley to hang on to. We don't often talk about him as the man who is having to fight with Coppin side by side. Coppin's going to get the inside line for 10. Boom! Finally, he gets the move done. Trundley's going to fight back. And they're still wrestling with each other for the apex. Through the inside, though. Coppin's got it. Trundley's back on the exit.
What a battle. Coppin was trying to give Trundley the sign to just leave him alone and go forward. Trundley's not having any of it.
No, Trundley's let himself back into the position. Coppin's going to have to try some other trick.
He did that finger thing. He was like, I'm past you now, let's go. But the move wasn't done. The move was far from done. And Trundley came back at him past the start-finish straight.
Terrific performance there from Trundley. I am not going to let this guy get me. Brilliant racing. But Hackworth is in uncrushable rhythm right now.
He is. I don't think it's over.
Oh, here we go again. Coppin and Trundley side by side again as they come up to the final hairpin. And Trundley squeezes Coppin onto the curve as they come past you.
Yeah, they fly past. Coppin doesn't have the run that he's had now to make a move into 2, 3 and 4. I'm trying to see if this is benefiting Andy Spencer at all behind these two. But there's now some 6 back markers between the Trundley-Coppin battle and then the 6th place Andy Spencer.
They come through turn 4 on the short stretch to the long sweeping right-hander hairpin, turn 5. And Coppin is gaining ground on Trundley again.
Trundley's so aggressive though, isn't it? You know if you're going to make a move on Bobby Trundley, he's going to A, block hard, and B, come straight back at you. And Coppin's had his nose ahead 2, 3 times in this battle already, and he's still behind. Yeah,
to be fair, Bobby Trundley is always fascinating to watch because he's always at the lock stops. He's always at the limit of what he can do with that car.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna be quite conservative in this race.
No, you're not.
Liar! You liar!
Conservative for what? Conservative for Verstappen, probably. But absolutely amazing. I mean, he just dances with death at every apex, just throws the car in, chucks it about. And Coppin is starting to get into that same mentality himself now, and he's unlocked the secrets to be able to rival Bobby Trundley in a battle.
I tell you what, Ellis is pushing very hard as well. I think he can sense that podium. Quite an aggressive style he's taking through. I think we've been seeing the cars being a bit more gentle over the less good conditions earlier this morning. And now we're seeing the cars really being pushed through the limit, especially through turn 9. You can see the difference between the DMAX and some of the Sodi karts here. Turn 9's a proper corner here for the DMAX.
Yeah, they really have to work hard through that long flowing left-hander. In the bone dry, you can keep the car flat to the throttle. It's not easy to do, and you do risk losing an awful lot of momentum into the braking zone for 10. But the feeling of it is absolutely joyous as you plant the throttle and just guide the car through, the back end wanting to come around. Tom Pughe has not given up on victory by any stretch of the imagination. He has got that gap down to just under 2 seconds, I think, now. Certainly the last time round it was 1.8. I think it might have gone back up again slightly. Well, no, it's come down. 1.7, in fact. So 1.7 as Coppin is once again all over the back of Bobby Trundley and sensing an opportunity, but Trundley cuts him off again.
This is the part now. Can he keep momentum through that final hairpin and try and make something happen into turn 2? Can you put Bobby Trundley under enough pressure into turn 2 to get a little bit sideways? He looks pretty steady going through there, to give yourself an opportunity to do something at some point into turn 3. And that turn 3, it's a nightmare because The corner is behind you. Once you get into the braking point, the corner is so far behind you. You can see the apex, yet you need to keep moving away from it to get the proper line through turn 4.
Yeah, you can never really get properly prepared for that corner. You just have to throw yourself in and hope that the kart is going to stick to the apex. Coppin again, just challenging Trundley, but this is perfect for Mike Coppin. He's not pushing very hard here at all. He's just following every line that Bobby Trundley takes. He's not working his tyres that hard. He's not working the brakes that hard. Bobby's doing all the work.
I'm going to tell him you said he wasn't pushing in the battle with Trundley. See what he says.
Well, certainly in that section. I mean, he needs to wait until the end of the race. We've now got, we're about to start the 49th minute of the race, and he'll be waiting for his opportune moment. But at this point, he's just trying to size up what Bobby's doing, sense where there's a little bit of vulnerability, and think about where he can make the ultimate lunge.
So the driver in the wall at turn 2 has been given the yellow flag to hold. I don't like that. That's always a bit of a humiliating one, isn't it? Here you go, hold this flag.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the stupid sign from Bill Engvall, isn't it?
Here's
your sign.
Here you go, take this whistle. If you get in trouble again, blow it, and someone will come and help you.
So yellow flag stationary.
Yep.
And that means we're under caution. Well, this is brilliant news for Mike Coppin, because he can just follow in behind Bobby Trundley, have a bit of a breather.
So the problem with that car in turn 2, Jake, is that it hasn't got enough wheels on at the moment.
Ah, so a wheel fell off it.
Generally, and this is only a rough rule, the karts have 4 wheels when they're going around, and this kart has less than 4.
Right.
So
does it have more than 2?
More than 2, but less than 4.
Okay, that's all right.
That's turn 2. That's not that much of a surprise. If a wheel's going to come off anywhere, it's going to be that hard turn 2 curb.
Well, it's very irritating if you're Torren Bellet Jr., as his battle for race supremacy is now done and dusted. But again, this is one of those things. We are telling drivers constantly that if you push the kart over the curbs, if you ride the curbs, you are going to shear a stub axle. You could shear a bolt, and that's when wheels start falling off. So you've got to be very careful just how hard you're pushing. And unfortunately, you know, the harder you push, the more likely something is to break on the kart. And on this occasion, Torren Bellet Jr. has learnt about that the hard way.
Well, the driver's okay. That's the main thing.
He's irritated.
Yes,
I think that's to be expected, really.
And that's number 56. I don't know if we're going to get a word. Did your wheel fall off?
Yeah. The rear axle fell off. So literally, I had a crash at the start of the race, and I thought it might have been an issue. And then obviously later on, the rear axle just broke, rear right.
Unfortunate. I'm glad you're okay though. Scary moment when bits of the car fall off. Number 56.
It's Torren Bellet Jr.
Torren Bellet Jr. Yeah.
A real shame, actually, because he was right in the mix of a good battle. Well, he is going to go out again. He's not injured, so he's just going to take another car.
This is why I love outdoor karting, and when people invite me indoor karting, I just can't be bothered. Because there's so much more going on an outdoor track. The curb gives you an element of risk and reward that you've got to fight for. Every single corner, you've got to decide, are you going to take the risk of being unsettled, of damaging the car, in exchange for more lap time? You just don't get that on squeaky floors in an indoor track.
My favourite ever karting race I've ever competed in was right here, back in 2005.
Did you win?
No, I didn't.
Loser?
No, I didn't.
It's because you're not very good.
But the great thing about that particular race was there were so many overtaking opportunities, so many battles. It was a cool breeze, dark, pitch black, and greasy conditions, and you just had so many battles with so many drivers. In these particular karts, you really do
Coppin, look at Coppin coming round turn 9.
In front of Trundley.
So somewhere where we couldn't see, so it's not our fault, but hopefully the cameras picked it up. Coppin's gotten ahead of Trundley, finally.
Well, let's have a look again, because Trundley's got his onboard camera, so we can watch the move again, as Coppin has a cheeky look. That was beautiful, to be fair. And he's waited for the moment. That was beneficial because of the yellow flags. He was able to position himself nicely and catch Bobby Trundley off guard.
Yeah.
So Coppin is through into P4. Nicely done. Oh, big assassination into the turn 10 hairpin. Two karts come together there, and that's gone absolutely pear-shaped for the pair of them. Really not what we wanted to see from those two.
It was number 65 and number 47. It was 65 was in the lead there.
That's Glover and Linnett.
Yeah, and I hate assigning blame, as you know. But I think Glover had the inside line and Linux turned in on him and just completely shut the door. When the cart's up the inside, it's there. It can't disappear.
Well, those two have been battling together for position for the last 25 minutes or so, and that was an opportunistic moment for Linnet to get on the inside, Glover to get on the inside of Linnet. But as you mentioned, Linnet just turning into turn 10. He wanted to keep the place. He knew that there was an opportunity to turn in. But the difficulty is when you've got somebody to the right-hand side, you've committed to the move. You can't back out of it.
Yeah, but there's not space to turn. He's turned in when there's no space to turn. Your only option then is to concede that inside and try and hold it around the outside, which you can do in turn 10. By the way, it's a lie. I love assigning blame. I'm not the no-blame culture of Mercedes. That is weak. Someone must be at fault.
So we are going to get to see the last lap of the race for Chris Hackworth. He comes through in fantastic style, just 2.6 seconds ahead of Tom Pughe. This is great driving from both of them, to be fair. Pughe has been in a strong position all the way through the race. Hackworth has read every single corner of every single lap to keep him at bay. And to be fair to them, both of them, I guess, have really raised their game.
Ellis has driven well for his third place.
Absolutely.
Oh, they're going to let me do it.
Yeah, why not? Wave the checkered flag, mate. Do it.
No?
You've got to wait for the winner to come through.
Okay.
Come on, you're not that Canadian model. What's her name? Can't remember her name. Don't wave it too early.
I won't. But Ellis has benefited a lot from the Pughe-Trundley battle, hasn't he?
Yeah, to be honest to him, this is one of his best drives of the season, if not the best drive of the season for Joe Ellis, and he'll be richly rewarded with that victory. But through turn 9, here comes Chris Hackworth, the number 3, into the final couple of corners, and it will be an absolutely sensational victory for Chris Hackworth to take him into second place in the Drivers' Championship. Chris Hackworth wins here at Daytona DMAX in the Milton Keynes circuit. A brilliant end to his race, and that takes him into second position in the Drivers' Championship. And how about that? A nice fist bump between those two. That was a proper race between Tom Pughe and Chris Hackworth. They really made that a heroic battle. That was really exciting stuff. A fantastic end to the race. And Tom Pughe, his best ever result into Enduro. A second place finish, not bad at all. Joe Ellis, worthy in third position. Mike Coppin will come through in P4, and then it will be Bobby Trundley in 5th position. Not the panic that we thought it might have been at one stage for Bobby Trundley. He still finishes very well in comparison to some of his rivals in the points. Bobby Trundley very close in behind Mike Coppin as they came out of the finish of the race there. I think Bobby was a little frustrated.
They let me wave the flag.
They did.
I'm well happy.
It didn't go too badly either.
It was all right. He said I was all right.
It's all right.
He said I would never have let Sanson do that.
Fair enough.
He said I trust you, Spanners. That's what he said.
Chris Hackworth taking the victory from Tom Pughe and Joe Ellis. That's your podium finishers. Mike Coppin in 4th place from Bobby Trundley and Andy Spencer. Chris Alcock in 7th place from Anthony Kirk. And Owen Genman only down in 9th. That drops him to 3rd in the point standings as a result of that position. And in 10th place, it is Simon Ross ahead of Ellis, Bork, Wattis and Bennett. Ladies and gentlemen, your top 3, Joe Ellis, Tom Pughe, and your race winner, Chris Hackworth, ladies and gentlemen.
Here with third place man Joe Ellis. You got the work done early. That hard work paid off. It must have felt fantastic seeing those guys scrapping behind you.
Yeah, I got a fairly clean start. Bobby kind of dropped back a bit, but then I thought he was going to come back. But I managed to kind of keep ahead of him, keep it clean through the traffic, and just, yeah.
It's a shame the front two disappeared, but did you ever have any focus on those guys?
Well, not really. I think they'd had a different pace, to be honest. I was just pretty uneventful race for me, but yeah.
Uneventful, but you get the podium, so it can't be too bad. Thank you very much, Joe Ellis. Let's get the second place man. Come on, second place man, Tom, come and have a word with us. Tom, our pole sitter, who got his pole position time twice. I think you understood before the race started that Hackworth and Trundley might be at a quicker pace, so it wasn't a surprise to see Hackworth hounding you so badly so early on.
No, absolutely not. Hackworth's a legend around here, so is Bobby. Bobby's a legend driver as well. So, yeah, Hackworth's won so many trophies up here and always involved in the 24-hour. As I just said to Alex Pritchard, I know why he's on Team Applewood, both of them, because they're fantastic drivers. That's the hardest I've ever had to drive, ever, for a long time. I say ever, for a long time before going back to the old twin engines that we used to have up here. It's amazing race.
You could see how physical you were being in the car. You were pushing really hard. Obviously, like the pole earned you not having to deal with Bobby Trundley. Going through the traffic, is there a chance? Did you think you might be able to catch Chris?
Yeah, towards the end I did. I saw 5 minutes and I thought we'll give it a go, and I thought this was going to happen. But then I just ran out of time. Another half an hour maybe, I don't know. But I thought he might have started to, back off, but he didn't. He's fit as a fiddle. So.
Good day's work there for Tom Pughe. Definitely a great result, but a legend of Daytona DMAX. Absolutely unstoppable today. Did you break a sweat?
Oh yeah, Tom was pushing me the whole way. I had to push it. It was like fastest. Try and push every lap for an hour. That's what I say. I think Tom did the 24 hours on his own this year, didn't he? So he knows all about endurance. So I couldn't relax at all. He just kept on pushing, and luckily it was a bit of a close moments with traffic, but I was managed to just get that overtake early when he got a bit sideways. And
did you know in those early laps that you were going to have him down into turn 10 at some point?
Oh no! It was just one of the moments where I've got to take a chance, and it was just a bit sideways at the top of the hill, and I just went for the late brake and just hang on to it, and it was stalemate after that.
Chris Hackworth, absolute legend, winner of many DMAX titles and today's race. Congratulations, but we do have to take some time to speak to our championship winner. It's been decided here in round 9. Come here, Bobby. Bobby, a fantastic battle with Mike Coppin. In the end, though, it didn't matter that you lost that place. We have our DMAX champion.
Yeah, a bit shocked, actually, especially after me being a little bit miffed with Mike Coppin, actually.
Just a little bit? You showed some emotions coming out of the car. Do you feel like airing that publicly?
Well, Sky's here, aren't they?
How mad are you at him?
Well, it's all calmed down now, but I was a bit mad, yeah. Just because he ran me up the bum going into 10, 9 and 10 consistently.
Charming!
Outtake.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Jake, go on. You
Bobby, yeah. To be fair, this has been a really tough year. You've really had to pull out the stops because you've had Chris Hackworth, you've had Tom Pughe's come into the championship this year. Mike's got better. Chris Alcock's got better. Everybody's been pushing on your back all the way through, and you've really had to increase your stack to get this championship done again.
This has been an incredible year. It actually has. Everyone's up their game from last year. Last year, not being rude, it was a lot easier. I'm not being cocky at all, but this year it's been so hard, and hard considering with Owen coming on the scene, Mike, Chris Alcock particularly picking up, as he claims he uses this as practice sessions. I don't think he does. Mr. Spencer, brilliant driver. Everyone's just picked up their game. The driving manners of DMAX has been great. It's a shame about 2019, but hopefully get to see Daytona back up here, on the scene in 2020.
You and me both, mate. Well done. Enduro champion once again. Well done.
Thank you.
What a fantastic end to the season as far as he's concerned.
A really popular champion because he does wear his emotions so close to his sleeve. In fact, occasionally wears his heart on his mouth, doesn't he? So there we go. Bobby Trundley, definitely a great champion this season.
Yep, there's just one more chance now to go racing in the Daytona DMAX Enduro Championship. That's at Sandown Park in 4 weeks' time. There's the number to ring if you want to book yourself a place on the grid. Stop looking up, don't be so silly. Also, DaytonaMax.co.uk is the website. Get yourself on the grid. It's your last shot of great racing action in Daytona DMAX.